Hi, so this is my discussion board 2. I'm going to be reading them off of the side of my paper, so sorry if I keep looking sideways. I will work grades and feedback into the process of my future classroom, hopefully by discussing what grades are acceptable and which ones are showing progress to my students at least once a quarter, if not multiple times a quarter, probably 2 to 3. That way I can help students further understand what they're supposed to be understanding and how I can help them. It gives them a chance to ask questions and understand that I'm on their side and I want them to succeed. How will achievement be monitored and recorded during the grading period? I am hoping that achievement can be monitored daily in my classroom, since I'm looking at teaching elementary education, mainly second grade or below. I would hope that I can implement a reward system to identify the achievements that each individual student has made. In the previous assignment that we did regarding our classroom policies and management plan, I had discussed talking to my students about doing a reward system if they did something that was academically an academic achievement in some sort of way. I'd like to do reading charts in my classroom, so as my students learn more, they get rewarded for that. Certain grades on tests I'd like to reward as well, and things to that extent. Effort and knowledge will be weighed in my grading, hopefully pretty heavily. Effort is important, and if students aren't showing their effort in the classroom, then they're not going to show effort outside of it, and I think that is pretty important. Good and bad behavior shouldn't affect grading in terms of the student's academic success. I think that when it comes to grading behavior specifically, I know some schools do require that teachers grade students' behavior on a 1 to 5 level, and I would like to do so, but I think that academically in core classes like English, math, science, reading, stuff like that, it should not be a part of the equation. I think even if a student has bad behavior, their academics may not reflect that, and their academics should be separate completely from their physical behavior. So the option that I chose for part 2 was the gender influence on students in the selection of classroom rules. I was actually a part of the American Red Cross Babysitting Society, and they discussed the difference between male and female impacts on young children. Males are typically associated with more of the fun and easygoing parts of education and cooperation, and females are typically described as being flustered or careless or even mean at some points. We as women usually tend to focus more on the general rules of society, and men are typically associated with more of a free spirit, and I think that is a big part in creating classroom rules. Some kids may have the same set of rules in their classes, but depending on whether or not they have a male or female teacher will determine how that is interpreted, I suppose. I think teacher and student cultural contexts matter when designing a classroom management plan. I think that with as many different personalities as there are out there, a management plan can't be set in stone for all teachers across the board. I think that a management plan has to be distinctly determined between each teacher and the area that they're working in and the students that they have that year. A concept that I really enjoyed was the ability for students to kind of come up with an idea for their classroom rules. I did this in my college dorm. We came up with ideas of how we can best succeed as a group on my floor, and it actually helped a lot of us get along a lot better than we thought we would initially. I think that for students, this is super important, along with obviously teacher guidelines that should be enforced almost all the time, should also include those of students. Students have their own free thoughts that go through their head every day, and they need to be expressed, and this also shows kids that their opinions matter and that they have a say in things that go on in this world, that they're not only expected to obey. I think that this is really important in every classroom, and this is something that I hope to practice within mine.